Yep.
Awesome. All right, we're on a Neovolta battery install. This is a battery add-on to an existing SunPower solar system. And so we did the roof and the solar and a electric car charger about a year or two ago. And then homeowner called us out and said he's interested in battery backup. The SunPower battery, unfortunately, was not yet available for add-ons like this, and so we've gone with the Neovolta 14.4 kilowatt hour, and it's a great unit. We've installed a bunch of them. Homeowners are really happy with their performance. So let's talk a little bit about it, about the battery and about what it takes to install them. So we've got the main service panel on the house. The solar used to come into the main service panel, and there was a solar breaker in here somewhere. And then the only other piece of equipment we had on the wall was this monitoring device over here that would monitor the solar production, the consumption of the home, and what was then backfed also to the grid. When we're doing a battery system on a house, we got to decide what circuits we want to work during a power outage. We're going to call those the critical loads or the battery backup loads. Those need to go on a specific sub panel, and so that's what Jose is working on here. It's a nice big sub panel. We've pulled 11 or 12 circuits out of the main, through the attic, and rerouted them into this critical loads sub panel. Okay, so not physically, but the wiring, basically the brains of the Neovolta battery now separate the critical loads panel and the main. And so in the event of a power outage, this electrical panel will have power, but the Neovolta battery keeps any power going to the main. And that's a safety hazard. Why? Because we don't want to send battery power out through the meter and onto the grid when the grid is down. It just wouldn't work. So take a step a little bit further this way, we can see that we had to add another sub panel. So we did have to bring two solar strings together off of the roof before it went into the Neovolta battery. So unfortunately we had to add another sub panel. Not a huge deal, but that's okay. Monitoring will be redundant. We're going to have both the SunPower monitoring, and then the Neovolta will monitor both solar, house consumption, battery levels, and all that. And so basically have several different ways to monitor this. But within the Neovolta system, we've got what is a string inverter. And this has the capability of accepting both DC or AC electricity from the roof. And so I guess you could call them old-fashioned systems. System on my house, DC electricity comes off the roof, in which case, if I was installing this at my house, we could bring that electricity directly into the batteries. Nowadays, the more modern system, AC electricity is coming off the roof, so it needs to go through the inverter, go back to DC to be stored in the batteries, because the batteries store DC electricity. Then when the home's going to use the power, it's going to come out of the batteries, go back through the inverter, turn back into AC electricity, and go to the electrical panels. This is a nice size system, 14 kilowatt hours, plenty of electricity, plenty of backup power for a home this size. And then if you wanted to add another 10 kilowatt hours of storage, it's a much smaller, much more simple device that we add to the side of this. Basically doesn't have the brains, and all the wiring's already been done. We just have to add more batteries, and that puts it up to 24 kilowatt hours, which is a ton of storage. So this thing is pretty awesome, provides a huge peace of mind knowing that you can have power when the grid goes down, which is happening more and more often these days. The other huge selling point on batteries is that we can basically, instead of buying electricity at those expensive times of day, between the hours of 4 to 9 p.m., we can use the battery to power a lot of the home to help save us a lot of money during the time of use rates.